video is going to be my May reading wrap up, but I kind of did this a little bit differently. I actually went on TikTok live for the first time, because if you guys didn't know, I have been doing more TikToks and I have decided to be more active on there. And I've been getting a lot more interactions and comments about books on TikTok as opposed to my YouTube channel. So I thought it would be really fun to go on live and talk about all the books that I read. I also did a yes, no, or maybe on the books that I read in May. So I did read 21 books this month, which was crazy huge. I can't believe that I finished basically every single book I wanted to read except for two. So the only two that I didn't get to, I didn't say this in my live because, I forgot. The only two that I didn't get to on my TBR was Firefly Lane by Chris and Hannah. I know. And His Face is the Sun. I always forget how to say the author's name. Let me just bring it up. And after after you watch my recap, if you care, then I'll comment on after and say like a couple things that I might have forgotten in the live because I had to rush at the end. But anyway, the other one is His Face is the Sun by Michelle Jabez Corpora, but I am planning on starting the audiobook very soon of that one, and I am planning on reading Firefly Lane finally next week. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this live, and let's jump into it. Also, before we get into it, sorry, I just wanted to say that I'm sorry that you can't see the comments on my TikTok live, but I wasn't sure how to save it with the comments. It just saved with the video, so at least the video saves, but I couldn't figure out how to get the comments back. So, and I'm not sure how to save it on TikTok. I'm still pretty new to it. So yeah, that's it. Now let's get into it. Hi everybody. I don't know who's gonna watch, but this is going to be officially my first TikTok live, and I figured that I would come on and talk about all the books that I read in May while I do my makeup with you guys. So we'll see if anybody joins. If not, then I don't know. We'll see. Okay. So I read 21 books in May, and I'm going to talk about which books that I really liked and which books I didn't. I usually don't try to keep up with reading books that I don't really like, but I do finish them. I don't really DNF books, so I don't know how to tell other people that I'm here. It's fine. We're just gonna do it. If people watch, it's fine. If not, I don't care. So, hi Barbara. Hello. Okay, so I have done a lot of TikToks where I'm not wearing makeup, but my other love is makeup, so I am going to be doing my makeup. How many times can I say makeup? 3 times fast, right? So, also I need to, hi, hello. What are your names? Okay, wait, let me just pull up my Goodreads list on what I actually read because I forgot that I have to pull it up because it's on my phone. Hello. Because I can't use my phone at the same time. Duh. Okay. What is everybody currently reading while I do this? If you're not reading anything, that's totally fine. What are you doing today? What are your plans? Summer is approaching, so hi. Hello, everyone. Oh, this is so cool. I figured I would come on here and talk about the books I read because I feel like I've been getting a lot more interaction. For I don't know what else to do, so swipe left to view real-time performance and more tips. No, that's all right. Okay. Hi. Hello, everybody. What are everybody's names? My name is Caitlin, by the way. It's up in my, up here. If you want to go right ahead. If not, then that's okay. So let me see where I can pull up my list. Okay, you get flaws and all right now. You look so pretty, don't I? This freaking bullseye in the middle of my fucking forehead. It's still there. Okay, so let me see. Why am I like brain farting on how to get to the books that I read on Goodreads? Okay, so it's right here. All right, so like I said, I read 21 books in May. Do I have a notification? Oh, cool. No, I don't want to do that. But I'm glad everybody's joined. If you want to comment, feel free. Just, if you don't read or you haven't read anything, then just interact or just say hi, or you can just leave an emoji. Okay, so we're going to start with the first book that I read, obviously, which is Swift and Saddled by Lila Sage. Now, this is a cowboy romance series. It's called the Rebel Ranch series. And this one is about Ada and Weston. And honestly, this book left me as soon as I read it, because this was actually probably one of my least favorite books this month. This was actually my least favorite book in the Rebel Ranch series. I did read Done and Dusted at the end of April, because May just ended. Can you believe it's June already, guys? So I would say this one felt like it was written by like ChatGPT or something. It was not very good. So yeah. So anyway, let's start by priming my eyes. Basically, Ada, I think the plot is coming back to me now because I couldn't remember what the hell it was about before. She just got out of like a really bad breakup and she moves to like the town where Rebel Ranch is. I can't remember what the name of the actual place is. But she went through a really bad relationship and she then befriends Wes because he is working on like a house that Ada is designing. So he's like basically the contractor and she's like the interior designer, and therefore they share the live if you guys want. And again, you guys can say hi, whatever. Again, this is kind of a test run for me because I've never done this before, but also I wanted to come on here and do a wrap up because I thought it would be a little bit easier than doing it on my YouTube channel, but I will leave my YouTube channel or let you guys know what it is because I thought this would be a good way to get people to watch my YouTube channel. I've been on YouTube a long time, so. Okay, so, and then they end up developing a romance, and that's pretty much all you really need to know about this book, but honestly, the dialogue in here was so cringe, and I just didn't really care about the characters, and it just, like, I just wanted it to end, but it only took me a day to read this, because it's only 270 pages, so, so that's the first book. I really don't have anything else, to say. I don't know if anybody's commenting. I think people are just joining. Okay, I got a message. What is the message? How do I view that? What do we do? It says people are joining, but, oh, wait. No, that's not it. I don't know. Okay, people aren't really watching long enough to comment, so that's fine. It's fine. I really don't. It's not a big deal. So now I'm just going to set my eyes. Okay, so that's the first book that I read. Again, wasn't really that great. Then the second book I read in May was The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. And I read this on Libby, and I also listened to it on Libby as well. And Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes is the second book, is the prequel book in the Hunger Games series. Obviously, everybody knows what the Hunger Games is, unless you... Oh, thank you for the likes, Aaliyah. Hey, girl. Thanks for coming in. I really appreciate it. I just met Aaliyah last night on her live. She's so sweet. And she also watched my Yes, No, or Maybe on recapping the books that I read in May. So if you guys want to check that out, you can. So for my eyeshadow palette today, I'm going to be using the Agate Temptation palette. I know I'm all over the place, but it's fine. I haven't done a live in a while either. So, because I do lives on YouTube. Ooh, I got 200 likes. Yay, that's awesome. Thanks, guys. That's so cool. All right, anyway, so this eyeshadow palette is actually by one of my favorite YouTubers. And well, there actually is a Wicked palette by it's funny, by Ariana Grande's brand for the Wicked movie. If you guys didn't see it, what are you doing? I love that movie. No, this is actually by a YouTuber that I love. Her name is Angelica Niequist, and she created this eyeshadow palette. This is her brand. 329 likes. Awesome. Let's go. Woohoo. Okay, so I'm going to be using like these greens today. I did get this palette like a couple of days ago. And I want to use like the minty green to kind of like match my shirt and stuff because I'm getting ready to see one of my friends. I have like an hour, and I'll tell you guys what I used later on. So anyway, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes is the first, right? Me too. So good. Is the first prequel book in the Hunger Games series. And this is the first book that Suzanne Collins had written in the Hunger Games universe since the Hunger Games trilogy. And I finally binged the Hunger Games trilogy at the end of April. Yes, I never read the books. 400 likes. Yeah, let's go. Whoop, whoop. Oh, thanks for all the likes, guys. I really appreciate it. That's freaking awesome. I'm going to hopefully be able to save this live and upload it to my YouTube. So anyway, I freaking loved this book. I can't really say much about Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Oh, by the way, I gave Swift and Saddled like a 2-star. That was my rating. For Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, I was so conflicted on what I wanted to actually rate this book, but then I literally could not stop thinking about it. So I gave it a 5-star. I originally gave it a 4.5, and then I'm like, how can I not give it a 5-star? There is so much in this book. Oh, thanks for all the likes, girl. I appreciate it. So sweet. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But there's so much foreshadowing in the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. There's so much that you learn about the Hunger Games and why they are the way they are. The way that Snow was involved in planning the Hunger Games originally. It is freaking mind-blowing how much of a genius Suzanne Collins is. Oh my god, 800 likes. Girl, is that just you? That is so sweet. Thank you. I really appreciate it. It has lit up all their gifts in there. Okay. All right. I don't know how to do gifts and stuff. Maybe I'll learn that as I go live more often. But yeah, I'm not really sure how to do that. I guess it just shows up for people, right? That would make sense. Yes, please share the live. Please. I'm just glad I got viewers and I got so many people joining. So it really is fun. I'm just doing this for fun right now, to see how it went. But yes, 5 stars for Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. If you haven't read The Hunger Games yet, what are you doing? I saw the movies when I was growing up, but I never read the books. I wasn't really a big reader growing up. The only books that I read were Harry Potter. But I'd much rather support Suzanne Collins over Miss J.K. Rowling, especially in Pride Month. Go and read The Hunger Games, okay? So next up, after I read The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, I did actually read an ARC. And if you guys don't know what ARCs are, they are advanced reader copies where you can join websites like NetGalley, and there's like other websites that you can be able to receive advanced reader copies. All you have to do... Hi! Oh, well, hey, redhead. What's your name? To share your reviews on any platform. Oh, 1,000 likes. Yeah. Woo-hoo. That's awesome. Okay, so basically, I got this advanced reader copy, and it's called It's a Love Story by Annabelle Monaghan, and I got the ebook advanced reader copy. Hello, Emily. Hello, Scarlett. And based on the books that I've read from Annabelle Monaghan in the past, I've actually read all of her books. I've loved every single one. And she's like a big, like, summer romance writer. And her books are, like, so easy to read. They're very bingeable, very short books. So this book is about Jan Jenkins, something like that. And she is like a movie agent or a producer. And she is trying to get basically her childhood boyfriend to bully to get one of his songs in her movie because she thinks that that will get her movie made. And that's basically the whole concept of this book. And that's basically all that happened. And I really did not like it. I gave it a 2-star or like a 2.5 or something like that. This was my least favorite Annabelle Monaghan book that I have read. And I appreciate that it was like something different for Annabelle Monaghan, because usually her summer romances can be a little similar because it's usually like a single mom with kids. And she is like just went through a divorce. And that's basically like what her summer books are, how her summer books are written, I mean. But this one was like a little bit different. And I feel like maybe she should branch out to even something more than summer romance, because I was really ready to read this book. I knew I was going to be in for some good writing, but honestly, this felt like I was not even reading a Annabelle Monaghan book. Or Monaghan, right? And I'm pretty sure she lives in Long Island. So this book does take place on Long Island, which is my home. But also, like, I felt like she didn't really capture, like, anything about what I love about Long Island. And I'm going to be talking about a summer romance that I read that was, like, the complete opposite for me that I absolutely loved. But I don't know, this book just, I didn't understand the way that this book was written. Like, she would constantly talk about, like, the main male character, like, flushing the toilet and going to pee and stuff like that. And it just, like, I don't know, it just turned me off so much. There was nothing, like, profound about any of these books, quotes or lines or passages like I usually find with Annabelle Monaghan's books. And again, it doesn't always have to be written like that. I just really didn't like it. So it might be for you, but it just wasn't for me. So the next book that I read was Lost and Lassoed by Lila Sage. Now, as opposed to reading Swift and Saddled, this book was actually really, really good. So this one was about Teddy and Gus. And Teddy is the female main character in this one, and Gus is the main male character. I mean, duh. Why don't I not remember this one as much as the second one? But basically, this one is about Teddy basically going through, I think she's also going through a divorce as well. And Gus also works at Rebel Blue Ranch, I believe. I think usually the guys are the ones that work at Rebel Blue Ranch. And Teddy becomes kind of like a motherly figure in Gus's life, because Gus has a daughter and she is trying to basically navigate her relationship between him and her daughter, because, you know, she wants to be like a important part of her life, but she doesn't want to overstep with like her mother's role in her life, obviously. So Gus is basically a single dad, and he falls in love with Teddy. And I actually really, really liked this one. This one was good. I gave this one a 4 stars. And it became my favorite book in the series. And I was like, of course, I end up liking this series when it comes to the 3rd book. So that's really all you need to know. I don't really remember as much about this one. basically it's kind of forbidden romance, because usually in these books, like the main character usually falls in love with like somebody's brother or somebody's best friend, you know, something like that. I don't know what shade I want to use on the lid. I don't know if I want to use this shade. It's like this translucent color. I don't know if you guys can see it. Or I should use this one. Not very good lighting. I don't know if you guys can see that. I don't know. They're both really pretty. Which one? Does anybody want to choose for me? 1 or 2? 1 or 2? 1 or 2? So anyway, yeah, that's pretty much it about this one. There wasn't really much to it. It was really good, though. I really liked the narration, too. Also, fun fact, the narrators of this book also narrate Shield of Sparrows by Daphne Perry. And the female main character narrates most of Shield of Sparrows. This is more dual narration for this one. And I really did enjoy the narration for this book. And also, the male main character doesn't come in until the end. So... in Shield of Sparrows. This one, he's a lot more involved in, but I feel like his voice is like a little bit like too dark romancy for me, reading this role. And I don't know, it's just like, I just feel like his voice was a little bit too much for me in this one, but it was still good. I still really enjoyed it. And yeah, so that was the third book in the Rebel Ranch series. And then the next book that I read in May was Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins, and I believe my holds from the library had just come through for this one, and also I knew that my hold for Sunrise on the Reaping was coming in like the first week or the second week of May, so that's why I didn't want to delay reading The Hunger Games any longer, and that's why I was so glad that I did read The Hunger Games at the end of April. So yeah, Sunrise on the Reaping was read on Libby as well, and I also listened to the audiobook. I think I got the audiobook on Audible, because obviously the audiobook was not going to be available at the same time as the ebook, because I think I didn't put a hold on it. I don't know what else to do to get people to watch. Okay. Let's just do that. I don't know what else. One more step. Okay. That's what I did. Haven't I been on for 30 minutes? Maybe I haven't been on for 30 minutes yet. But hi, welcome to anybody who's watching. So anyway, Sunrise on the Reaping is, Haymitch's story. So if you don't know who Haymitch is, he is Katniss's mentor in the Hunger Games trilogy. And this is his backstory. And this takes place during the 50th Hunger Games. The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes takes place in the 10th Hunger Games. And like the 10th Hunger Games, everything was very like nitty gritty, very dark, very, they would treat the tributes like crap, pretty much. And basically, from Ballad to Song of Songbirds and Snakes to Sunrise on the Reaping, the tributes are treated way differently. And basically, this is Haymitch's story on how he survives the Hunger Games. Like, these aren't spoilers whatsoever, because if you've read the Hunger Games and if you've read A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, you know that in order for anyone to survive the Hunger Games, you have to survive the Hunger Games. Like, you're not going to live if you basically haven't been through the Hunger Games, or you're just counting down the days on when you are chosen to compete in the Hunger Games. So this was absolutely devastating, this book. Snow's book was not as devastating but I just found Snow was so fascinating as a character to me, and I really love the layers of pretty much deception that Suzanne Collins built in the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and I feel like Snow is such a multi-faceted character in the Hunger Games. I know a lot of people hate him, but I just find him fascinating. I don't like him, but I find him fascinating. And you still don't like him by the end of Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. This is not a redemption book for President Snow. So, I just want to make that clear. So anyway, Sunrise on the Reaping was absolutely heartbreaking. You find out so much about Haymitch, and again, there is so much foreshadowing in this book. You find out why Haymitch calls Katniss sweetheart in the Hunger Games. And by the way, it's not what you think, and it's absolutely freaking devastating as to why he calls her sweetheart. So that's all I'm going to say. I cannot wait to see the movie. I'm sure it's going to be freaking amazing. I didn't love the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes movie as much as the other ones because I felt like they left out a lot of details that are in the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes that you don't get in the movie. Because also the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes is the longest book in the Hunger Games universe. So, but I loved it. I loved every second of it. And Sunrise on the Reaping, I cried so much towards the end. It is very, very sad. And then you find out why Haymitch drinks so much, because it's the only thing that he uses to numb his pain. I mean, you can't really blame him when the Hunger Games still go on. And then you do find out the reason why the Hunger Games even takes place in Sunrise on the Reaping. I am so glad I was able to read all these books, though, so close together. I don't think I could have waited to read all these books, you know, how much later. I think the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes came out like maybe 10 years after the original Hunger Games trilogy, and that would have been torture for me, so I wouldn't have been able to wait. Okay, next up was another advanced reader copy, an ARC read, which was Catherine Center's The Love Haters. I just want to pick up my shadow and put on some more sparkle. So basically, this book is by one of my favorite authors. I really enjoy Catherine Center's books, and I received this on NetGalley so I could read it before it came out, which is just really cool that you're able to do that. Oh, I forgot to grab my makeup wipes. Just give me 2 seconds. I will be back in literally 2 seconds. Hold on. I'm running. Okay, I'm back. Hello, if anybody joined. I'm going to pick out my foundation that I want to wear, so come take a walk with me. I'm going to use, and I'm getting a little hungry. Still 45 minutes, though, until I have to be ready. Okay, so I wanted to get on here with a lot of time. So let me just pull up who the characters are in The Love Haters. Can I just... No, I can't do that. Why? Let me just click on it really quickly. This one, okay. Her name is Katie, and the male main character's name is Hutch, which his real name is Tom. His name freaking made me cringe the whole time, though. It was annoying, but then we kind of found out why he is named Hutch. So, at least she explained why his name is so cringeworthy, because it just pissed me off the whole time. It was just so annoying. Like, every time I'm like, Hutch, why? So anyway, basically, Katie is a documentarian. So it's kind of similar. It's a little similar to the plot of It's a Love Story by Annabelle Monaghan. But this but this one was actually good, okay? This was fun. But the one thing that did piss me off was that the female main character was kind of dumb a couple of times. And, that does annoy me when, especially female authors, make their female main characters kind of dumb. All right? Like, this is not like simple mistakes that anybody could make. It was more like, he had to go on a rescue mission. This must be why his phone is here. Because so basically, he is a Coast Guard, and she is a documentarian. And she is being sent to basically make a documentary about his job and what he does. And that's what the book is about, pretty much. And then they develop a romance. And I just thought there was a lot of funny moments in this. But the twist is that Katie can't swim. But she's sent to do this job because if she doesn't, she could be fired. So it's actually a really funny concept, and I did really enjoy that. I gave this book a 4 stars. By the way, I gave Sunrise on the Reaping 5 stars. If you couldn't guess, I've given every single book in the Hunger Games world 5 stars, of course, because how could I not? Hello, Veronica. Hello, everyone. Sorry I haven't said hi. I don't think anybody's watching right now, though, but honestly, it's fine. I'll just share this later. Can I go live on 3 separate days? Okay, so I can't set a total views 100. Okay, I did get 1 goal met. Okay, I look crazy right now, I know. Okay. That's cool. Sorry. Oh my gosh. Please share the live if you guys are watching. Why is my phone being dumb as hell? Sorry. Jesus. So it's just really funny that she can't swim. That was in no way why the female main character kind of annoyed me a couple times. But I do think she was sensitive to certain topics that she talked about in this book as well. Because the female main character struggles a lot with female body dysmorphia. Also, eating disorder, and binge eating. So check your trigger warnings. Can I speak? Before you read this book. But I thought it was really fun. The stupidity on the female main character's level had nothing to do with any of that. It was more so, like I said, there was one part where she had to go rescue his dog during like a big natural disaster that happens towards the end. And she goes and tries to rescue him. And she had recently, had a fight with him. And she finds his phone in wherever she's, rescuing the dog from. I'm not going to say where because it's a little spoilery. And she's like, wow, this must be why he's not answering me. And I'm like, girl, duh. Duh. So anyway, but it was still fun. I had a good time. I love Catherine Center's comedy writing. It's a Love Story was really not funny whatsoever. So that was also a downfall of that book as well. It didn't have the witty dialogue or humor. Hello, Brittany. that Annabelle Monaghan usually writes in her books. So anyway, the next book that I read was the last book in the Rebel Ranch series by Lila Sage, and that was Wild and Wrangled. And this one was about Camille, and I also gave The Love Haters 4 stars, or 4.25. Why do I keep on forgetting what my ratings are? Sorry. I gave it a 4.25, I believe, which was still really high. So this one was about Camille and Dusty, and Camille is actually the mother of Gus and her's child in Lost and Lassoed. So now we get her backstory as to what happens with her. There's actually a cliffhanger that kind of happens at the end of Lost and Lassoed. So I was like, ooh, finally we're getting some suspense in this series. So this one I also gave a 4 stars as well. And that one actually turned out to be my favorite book in the series over Lost and Lassoed. I just absolutely fell in love with Dusty's character. I really did love him. He did like such amazing things for Camille. So basically Camille is engaged to another man, and something happens at the end of Lost and Lassoed, and Dusty has been pretty much one of her best friends over the years in Rebel Blue Ranch. And why can't I ever say that? Rebel Blue Ranch, Caitlin. Jesus, take the wheel. When I'm Jewish, hi. But anyway, so I thought it was really cute. I kept on quoting certain things in this book, and I just thought that it was adorable, and I really loved how much Dusty was down bad for her. And also I really enjoyed the flashbacks in this book of them being friends to lovers, and I really enjoyed the way that Lila Sage wrote friends to lovers in this book. Friends to lovers, or best friends to lovers, is one of my favorite tropes. So I thought it was just really, really cute. So next up is the third book in the Thursday Murder Club series, which was The Bullet That Missed by Mr. Richard Osman. I have read the first 2 books. I read the first book back in November, which was the Thursday Murder Club, and then I read the second book in January, which was The Man Who Died Twice. So I actually have not picked up this series since January. So I really wanted to keep up with it because I really do enjoy these books. They're so much fun. And there's also going to be a Thursday Murder Club movie on Netflix. That's how popular this series is, and for a good reason, because basically they are a bunch of senior citizens in a nursing home, and they solve cold cases. And that's basically all I can really tell you. I will tell you the general concept of this one, but I have to pull it up because I don't really remember myself. These books kind of leave me, not to say that I don't have a good time. It's just that it's a little bit hard to remember what happened in which book. But this one I did enjoy quite a bit more than the second one. I think the second one was actually my least favorite out of the 3, but not to say they're not fun still. So basically this one, it says, then a new foe pays Elizabeth a visit. So Thursday Murder Club is solving another cold case, just a typical Thursday for them. And it says, her mission, kill or be killed. Suddenly the cold case has become red hot. While Elizabeth wrestles with her conscience and has a gun, that's why, they have to figure out why the bullet that missed is stuck in this wall. And we need to find out who got shot, or who this person was trying to get shot, and who actually shot this person. So that's what becomes the main mystery about this book, and it's just really, really fun. I love how multi-layered his plots are, and also his books are hilarious, and the way that he mixes them with comedy along with suspense is just a really great time. So I really highly recommend these books if you haven't read them. They're just really fun. They're not doom and gloom kind of mystery murders. They're just kind of cozy mystery. That's the difference kind of with cozy mystery. Because it's how the hell is cozy mystery cozy, I mean, it does say it's a popular live. It's fine. It's fine. Like I said, this is only the first time that I'm doing this, so it's not a huge deal if I don't get like that many views or interactions. But if you just want to say hi, just say hi. If not, it's fine. I understand. So it says, but can the gang solve the mystery and save Elizabeth before the murderer strikes again? Can I speak? From an upmarket spa to a prison cell complete with espresso machine to a luxury penthouse high in the sky, this third adventure with the Thursday Murder Club is full of cleverness and irresistible charm that readers have come to expect from Richard Osman's best-selling series. And it's so much fun. I absolutely love them. So, and this one has a lot of like celebrities involved. It kind of reminded me a lot of Only Murders in the Building in this one. I almost feel like the plot of I believe it was the fourth season of Only Murders in the Building was very similar to the plot line that was in this book. So I don't know if they took some inspiration from this, because I'm sure that this was out way before Only Murders in the Building. But it's fine. I love that show. What is going on with my eyeshadow? It's not cooperating. So anyway, so that was the third book in that series. And then the next book that I read was a new release. I also read it on Libby. That's why I don't have it. I actually had bought the first two books and read those mostly physically, and also listened to the audiobooks because I love the narrator. And also like the live. If you guys don't want to watch, at least like it. You just tap on your screen. I just watched another live where the girl said tap while we yap, or tap while I yap, and I thought that was just so funny. So yeah, tap while I yap. So anyway, so the next book that I read was a new release, and it was the second book in the Curse of the Unfated series. Surprised I remembered that. By Danielle L. Jensen, and it's called A Curse Carved in Bone. Literally says the title of the series right next to it. So this one, again, is by Danielle L. Jensen. I really do want to read her Bridge Kingdom series, but I've only read A Fate Inked in Blood and the second book, which is A Curse Carved in Bone, and it's only a duology, so technically I did finish this series. Duologies are just really fun and short and to the point. And the main character is Freya, and basically she is in love with, what the hell is his name again? Let's find out again, right? Why can't I click it? Why is it doing that? Why are you doing this to me? But I did buy this book on Kindle and read it on Kindle. Hello, Mariposa. Why is this not... Why is this being dumb? It's not letting me click it. It's just saying remove from challenge, which I don't want to do that. Goodreads, why are you being dumb right now? All right, let's just pull up the book then. Because I, frankly, don't know why I can't remember the main male character's name at the current moment. I'm also hungry, so that might be why. And we only have a half hour now before we need to be ready. So hopefully I'll finish recapping these books by that time. His name is Bjorn. And basically, if you read the first book, they are enemies by the end. That's not really a spoiler. He just has to figure out, I'm sorry if you can't see shit. Sorry. But basically he has to figure out, what the is going on with Freya. Freya possesses pretty much a great power that, kings and queens want to use. And basically whoever has control of her will have power over her people. So that's a lot of what's going on in the second book. But also, again, something happens at the end of the first book where she pretty much hates Bjorn. And there are kings and queens that want to abuse her abilities. And that's basically what the second book is about. I absolutely love Freya as a, hello, Donna. I absolutely love Freya as a female main character. Hello, Courtney. My name is Caitlin, by the way. Please like the live if you guys have joined. I really would appreciate it. But if I just get views, that's honestly fine. I really do appreciate that as well. Hi, Nellie. And basically, she's a badass, and I really love the way that Danielle L. Jensen wrapped up this series. I honestly wish there would have been one more book, though. I feel like she did tie a good bow on the end, but also I do think that she kept up a bit of it open-ended. So, but like in a good way, like where it could end here and you were pretty much satisfied with the ending rather than just being like, oh yeah, that's it, it's over, bye. Because I really hate when authors do that too. But yeah, this was really good. I do think, though, that they stayed enemies a little bit too long. I wish that it would have happened a bit earlier, but also I understand why she did what she did. So, yeah. So I really liked it. What do I want to use on the inner corners? I think I'm going to use this one. I was thinking about using the other green, but it doesn't really go. So anyway, the next book that I read was Water Moon. I was about to say Waterbound. Let me go ahead and combine both books. All right, I have a lot of books to talk about still. I mean, not that many. I think we have less than 10. So Water Moon by Samantha Soto was the next book that I read. And I actually listened to that entirely on audiobook. It's like magical realism, kind of cozy fantasy. And basically, okay, I can view the book details on this one, so I don't know why it didn't show me on the other one. It's where a woman inherits a pawn shop where you can sell your regrets and then embarks on a magical journey when a charming young physicist wanders into the shop and this dreamlike and enchanting fantasy novel. So basically, this pawn shop kind of doubles as like a ramen restaurant, and people stumble into this place, hi Ty, to, you know, get a good meal. And they don't realize that this place is actually enchanted, and it's a enchanted pawn shop where you pretty much trades, you know, your soul pretty much, and you go on this magical journey with the female main character. I don't know why it doesn't say her name in the synopsis. And the physicist basically, like, I mean, yeah, physicist joins her on her quest and her adventures because her mother actually, unfortunately, goes missing in time, pretty much. And the way that this author, like, used magic in this was just so cool. And I really liked this book. I gave this book, I believe, a 3.85. Not quite a 4-star, but I enjoyed it a lot more than people were saying, because I know this book is getting a lot of not great reviews, but I thought it was really fun. And if you guys like didn't really love it, I would just suggest that you listen to it on audio, because I actually really enjoyed the audiobook narrator. So I also listened to this on Libby, and I just thought it was really cute. I hadn't read a cozy fantasy in quite a while, and this one was one I actually enjoyed. I thought it was a little slow in the beginning of part 1, but then parts 2 and 3, I thought they really picked up. And the magic system was so cool, like folding origami as like pockets of time. That was really, really cool, the way that she described that. So I really liked it. So, and basically she's on a quest for like the rest of the book to find her mother. So, also, am I the rest of the book to find her mother? So, also, am I able to like? I am not. Okay. Actually, so, also, am I able to like? I am not. Okay. Actually, yeah, that is cool that it just lets you exit out and come back. I just had to text my friend really quick. People that don't have iMessage, you have to actually text. If they did have iMessage, then it would be way easier. So anyway, the next book that I read was Direbound by Sable Sorensen, and I read this one completely on Kindle Unlimited. There is no audiobook for this one, but I really wish there was. This book is basically blowing up on TikTok. And also it was my book club pick for the month of May. And what's so funny is that I had added this book pretty late to our May reading list, you know, suggestions of what we want to read. And this book ended up getting picked. And this book was like the book that I added, like literally as the last selection for us to read in May. Okay, it's doing the same thing again. I might as well just keep my Goodreads open. Oh my god, I have to type the whole thing again. And basically this book is, a lot of people are describing it as Fourth Wing with dire wolves, and I would have to agree with that explanation. So basically the female main character's name, let me just bring up her name really quick, but this book was really, really good. I really enjoyed it. Her name is Marin, and basically she lives with her sister and her mother is like kind of cray, and she basically has to take care of her sister, and she is like a badass like fighter, and that is the way that she basically keeps like her family afloat, and how she makes money for her mother. And she also has to take care of her mother, but also has to take care of her sister. So she has a lot riding on her. She has a lot of responsibilities. But unfortunately, her sister, Sayla, gets kidnapped. And therefore, Marin has to go out and find her and try to bring her back home. And this results in her going to the kingdom and basically has her compete in the dire wolves competition. But the dire wolves competition is full of pretty deadly trials where the chances of survival are pretty slim. And it's similar to Fourth Wing because you have to bond with your dire wolf, and if you don't, they will basically, your dire wolf will kill you, or other dire wolves will kill you. Like same thing in like Fourth Wing, where if you don't bond with a dragon, you can get killed by a dragon. So that's pretty much what happens in this. And Lee is the love interest in this book, but then like something happens in like, you know, the first, like after the first 100 pages that you're like, what? But I like kind of figured out that it was him. So it was just really, really good. It was full of twists and turns. But again, there were a couple things about the female main character that kind of pissed me off. That, like, you know, look, I'm all for, you know, female main characters and male main characters too, but I mostly read female main character books just because I read a lot of female authors. There was just a lot of mistakes that she made in this that kind of pissed me off. Because, like, it was more so like, girl, how can you be this oblivious? You know? That's what, like, annoyed me. Like, there's nothing wrong with her being selfish or, like, you know, taking care of her and doing her thing. But, like, there's one thing about being oblivious than, you know, just completely ignoring, like, you know, what's really, like, in front of you. Because I pretty much figured out quite a few things before she did. But I loved the found family in this book. I really loved the friends that she made. I really loved the way that Sable Sorensen pretty much wrote everybody in this book, except for a couple things about the female main character. So I gave it a 4.25. It would have been a 4.5 at those things. I'm like, girl, come on. That was like, you know, like you're supposed to be, you know, like a master fighter. You should notice some of these things. Okay, I'm going to pause my makeup really quick because we still have quite a few books to talk about. So next up is Carly Fortune's One Golden Summer. Now, this is her new release for May. So pretty much, like, I tried to read as many May releases as I could. Because damn, there were so many May releases this month. This was probably my biggest month for new releases was May. It was crazy, honestly. And basically, look, this cover is so beautiful. I loved this book so much that I had to go out and buy the physical copy because I actually read this entirely on Libby and I listened to it as well. I think on Spotify because it was available on Spotify. Hi Nora. And basically, if I have read all of Carly Fortune's other books, and I actually was not a huge fan of most of them, this is by far her best book. I gave this book a 5 stars. I loved this book so much. This was definitely my favorite romance of the month and also my only 5-star romance of the month. I did also read an audiobook that I gave 5 stars, but it was kind of more of a short story, so I'm counting this as my only 5-star romance. And basically this is about Alice and Charlie. And if you guys read Every Summer After, you don't necessarily have to read Every Summer After in order to enjoy this book. It's about Charlie, which he is in Every Summer After. And basically everybody wanted like kind of a continuation of Charlie's story because everybody loves him and I love him too. Like, don't get me wrong. And basically this is about their summer romance. And Alice goes to where Charlie is at the lake. Like, Charlie lives at the lake. It's always, like, beautiful weather. And, you know, she hasn't been there since she was a kid. Because she used to, you know, go there with her friends. But, you know, her and Charlie weren't really friends growing up. And, she goes there with her grandmother, and they want to enjoy a summer there. And basically, Alice makes, like, a bucket list of, like, things she wants to do in the summer. And, you know, Charlie ends up finding her list, and the way that he expresses the way he wants to do things with her is literally, like, the cutest thing ever in existence. And I just fell in love with their romance, and the quotes and the passages in this book, it felt like I was reading an Annabelle Monaghan book, but I was like, this is Carly Fortune's best book, so I absolutely loved it. And I cried so much at the end because I absolutely just loved their romance. This book was so well written. I just really loved it. Okay, next up, I read Love at First Book by Jen McKinley. This one I read mostly physically and also I listened to on Libby. And this one is about Emily and Sibian. Oh, crap. No. Okay. I was like, wait, I'm still alive. So basically this is about Emily, and she is sent to Ireland to take care of Sibian's bookshop. But also Sibian is the son of like a world famous author, and this author has not written a book in like 10 plus years. So she is sent there to basically organize Sibian's bookshop. It's kind of similar to The Storied Life of A.J. Fickery, but I think this book was better. This book was so funny. I loved like the banter between her and Sibian. Basically like Sibian's like a grumpy sunshine character, but also his mother has to finish this series due to health issues. There's something that happens where she needs to really finish like this unfinished series. And that's basically what happens in this book. I thought it was really cute. I really liked the comedy between the female and male character. I thought they were really funny. And I just really enjoyed it. I really liked it. So this one I gave, I believe, just a 4 stars. And basically her and Sibian develop a romance. But there were some things that Sibian said to her at the end that didn't really jive with me. I just don't think it was very nice. I am going to sneeze. Please don't. Oh, God. Oh, my God. Okay. So next up, I read My Friends by Frederick Bachman. And My Friends was Frederick Bachman. Oh, wait. Hold on. I did listen to an audiobook before that. And this was like a 3-hour audiobook, 4-hour audiobook, but I listen to audiobooks at 2 times the speed. Yes, I have ADD, so that's why I'm able to listen to books faster than people with not ADHD, okay? And this book was so funny. It's called Better Luck Next Time by Cara Bastone. This was basically a short 3-hour audiobook, and I thought it was just so funny. I felt like I just needed to listen to something a little bit less heavy because I had already started My Friends by Frederick Bachman. Okay, we're going to talk about the books for a little bit because I don't have to put my lippy on for like another 10 minutes. But basically, this book, let me just pull up who the characters are. And Cara Bastone has written some of my favorite books. I've actually like pretty much rated most of her books 5 star. Actually, both of her books 5 stars. I don't know why people are rating this so lowly. It only has a 3.32. I give this a 5 stars. I freaking adored this. I thought it was so funny. Basically, the two main characters, it says 2 frenemies find a surprising second chance in this time slip rom-com starring Mae Whitman and Colin Woodall. And the two main characters are Mona and Duncan. And basically they are separating. They don't want to be together anymore. And they fall through like this time slip of basically their other versions of themselves going through a divorce. And it basically takes place during like this snowstorm where they are basically just trapped together. And the only way they're going to get out of it is if, you know, they work together. I thought this book was so fucking funny. I just love her book so much. And the time slip concept was just so funny. So I really did enjoy it. And I don't know why people didn't like it because I thought it was hilarious. I loved how short it was. And it was just a really fun, funny romance. Okay, and then I read Frederick Bachman's My Friends. This book was devastating. Of course, I gave it a 5 stars as well. Frederick Bachman's one of my all-time favorite authors. I have now read 4 books by him. I read the Beartown trilogy back in March, and it absolutely wrecked my life. This one, I think you guys should go into blindly if you guys were thinking about reading it. Basically, it's about a group of friends over the course of one summer together, and it constantly goes between their past and their present, where, you know, a lot of it 25 years earlier to like now. And basically it takes place through, you know, all of their perspectives of growing up together and also going through very traumatic events. This book made me cry like almost 5 times because Frederick Bachman is literally such an incredible writer, and he knows how to write a sentence. He just understands the power of a sentence better than anybody else that I have read. And his books are just so deep, but also he is a master at balancing humor and traumatic events. And I think that's why I love his books so much. And basically, he foreshadows by saying that this one character takes their story and tells it to this girl on a train. That they are both going back to this town for different reasons because, like, one of their friends have died, and you basically find out, like, who has survived throughout these years and what happened for the friends to, unfortunately, pass away. This has a lot of child abuse in it, so I would check your trigger warnings first because those parts were absolutely devastating to read, but absolutely amazing. And the way that he writes these books are so beautifully tragic, but also beautifully written. So, okay, so next up, I read a gothic romantasy, which is The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillick. I was really excited to read this book. I did buy this physically. By the way, I read My Friends on Libby, and I did listen to the audiobook on Book of the Month, and also Spotify. I need to hurry up and get this done because I only have like 10 minutes now, and I'm actually really hungry. I need to get my jewelry on and get the out of here. So basically, this book is about, let me just pull it up really quick. It is about, I might just go live later and talk about the rest of the books. Would you guys mind that? So I could, like, finish it later? Not that anybody's really watching anyway. Is about a woman named Sybil, and basically she is a diviner. And I didn't really enjoy this book, you guys, okay? I kept on, like, zoning out every single time I was trying to listen to the audiobook. I only gave it a 3.5 because I just think it was a little bit boring. And I didn't really understand the concept of it, so I'm just going to read it to you. So it says, Sybil Delling has spent 9 years dreaming of having no dreams at all. Like the other foundling girls who traded a decade of service for a home in the great cathedral, Sybil is a diviner. In her dreams, she receives visions from 6 unearthly figures known as omens. From them, she can predict terrible things before they occur, and lords and common folk alike travel across the kingdom of Trum's windswept moors to learn their futures by her dreams. Just as she and her sister diviners near the end of their service, a mysterious night arrives at the cathedral. So basically, the diviners go missing, and she has to try and find them, like, through her dreams and through her magic, and she has, possesses, like, great power. She's basically like the strongest diviner out there, but she also develops a romance with this knight. And that's basically what this is about. She also befriends this gargoyle who helps her through what her quest of finding the diviners. And that's basically it. I just thought, I don't know, there was something about it that I just didn't really love, but it was okay. Like I said, I bought this book physically, and I got the audiobook on... I think I borrowed it on Libby the day it came out, and I just thought it was okay. There was just like something about it that I just didn't really like. But the next book that I read, I absolutely devoured this book, and that is Silver Elite by Danny Francis. Everybody is talking about this book, you guys, okay? This book is like crack for people, including me. I absolutely loved it. I gave it a 5 stars, okay? So the main female character's name is Wren Darlington, and she basically wants to get into the Silver Elite so she can basically find out information about what is going on with the Silver Elite, and that's basically what this book is about. I want you guys to go into this blindly, but I absolutely was freaking obsessed with this book. I gave it a 5 stars. We only have 4 more books to talk about. Okay, we can wrap this up pretty quickly. And then I can get my other stuff on. Let me actually, like, pedal to the metal and do some other things while I'm on my live, because I need to hurry up. So let me just put some jewelry on and stuff. But this book was crack, you guys. I loved it so much, and I don't care what people are saying. And I think it's fun to try and uncover the mystery of who the author is, because people said it's like some famous author that wrote under a pen name, but I enjoyed it so much. I thought it was so much fun. I could not put this book down. There were so many twists and turns, so many like crazy killings and shocking deaths, that I just was glued to this book, and I was like, I have to finish this book, you guys, okay? I freaking loved it. I thought it was so much fun. Okay, then the next book I read was Shield of Sparrows by Devney Perry. And this book it's kind of long, and also I think it was a little bit unnecessarily long. Also, this book came out literally the same day as Silver Elite, which was crazy. People keep on talking about, both of these books, and I felt like I had to see what the hype was about with this book, and it was also blowing up on TikTok as well, along with Silver Elite, and people are also thinking, like, it might be the same author, but there was a lot of similarities about it. So basically, this one was a slow burn, high-stakes romantasy, and it doesn't, of course, say the female main character's name, but basically, she becomes like the long lost princess. Like, she grows up in a family of royalty, and her sister is supposed to be the one that marries the king, but something happens where, of course, she's ending up being the one that has to be the future queen. So she's shipped off to the other kingdom, and she meets this hot shadow daddy, okay, that has to take care of her. Okay, we only have 2 more books after this. Or 3 books. Never mind, 3 books. God, okay, Caitlin, hurry up. We have to go. So basically, she is being taken care of by this shadow daddy that, is her protector. And some shit happens that therefore, of course, they develop a romance. But she is betrothed to the king, and then she ends up having to marry the king but then she also can't really hide her feelings on how much she loves the Guardian. His name is the Guardian. And also the way that the monsters were described in this book were so cool. You know, they murdering children and all of that. So basically, they have to uncover and how to stop. They have to stop the monsters pretty much from murdering people. And the Guardian actually possesses a great magic that he actually possesses the magic of the monsters. So it was a really, really cool concept. And I did enjoy the majority of this book. But I just thought that this book had like a very severe pacing issue. And I felt like, you know, things needed to move along a lot faster than they actually did. So I just wish, you know, like the slow burn was getting a little bit too slow burning. And I really wished that, you know, that they would have, you know, progressed that a little bit more. So anyway, it was okay. I really liked the first like 200 pages, and then I was like kind of losing me a little bit, but overall I did enjoy it. I gave it a 4 stars. Okay, and then the last couple books that I read, this one was called A Fate Forged in Fire by Hazel McBride. This one came out also in May. So basically I just tried to read as many May releases at the end of the month as I possibly could. This one was so good, you guys. I gave this a 5 stars. I loved it. So basically this one is about Amria and Prince Fiorian. Basically Amria is the first female main heir to be able to have an heir, like a claim to the throne. And Prince Fiorian is supposed to become the king, but she, of course, you know, comes in and is like, dude, I'm gonna burn your house down and all of that, you know, because she possesses great magic and everything. Just trying to put these books back before I fall on my ass, and talk about literally 2 more books. But she is, you know, trying to claim the throne because she's supposed to be able to have a claim to the throne. But Prince Fiorian is supposed to become the king, and then obviously that ends up, you know, being a problem. So they end up being betrothed to each other, and they have to marry each other in order to unite the kingdoms. And they, of course, develop a romance. But this is a true enemies to lovers, you guys, because they literally, like, beat the shit out of each other. They're always trying to kill each other because, you know, they hate each other. And I just ate it up. I thought the slow burn in this was so well done. It wasn't, like, as dragged out as Shield of Sparrows, and I really did enjoy it. So I loved this book, and I cannot wait for the second book to come out. Okay, we have 2 more books left, and then we can go. So the second to last book that I read in May was Allie Hazelwood's Problematic Summer Romance. This is the second book in the Not in Love series. So this is about Maya, which is Eli's sister, and Connor, which Connor is Eli's best friend. And basically they have to go to like this destination wedding of Connor marrying Rue from, not Connor, Eli marrying Rue from the first book. Okay, I really cannot do this while I'm talking about books, so hold on. I really just want to throw on a regular lippy. This is just like not working for me right now. It's like really annoying, actually. So basically, Maya and Connor have to go to Italy to see Rue, and Eli get married, but like there's a ton of things that go wrong before they get married. And honestly, this kind of reminded me of the plot. Oh my god, let me just grab my damn phone and grab a lippy. I don't know what lippy I want. I think I'm just going to do this one because we don't really have time to pick out a different one. And basically, Maya has been in love with Connor for a really long time, but Connor is like older than her. Connor is like 38 and she's like 25. And people had like a big problem. That's why it's called Problematic Summer Romance, with the age gap in this book. And honestly, I could care less. They're both adults. They could both do whatever they want. And Connor was basically trying to prevent her, you know, from falling for him. But meanwhile, they both ended up like becoming best friends over the years. They would talk all the time. And basically, like, all these things were happening where they were in Italy that like prevented Rue and Eli from marrying. And that's pretty much what happened in this book. And I thought it was really fun. I gave it a 4.25. I still have yet to find a 5-star from Miss Allie Hazelwood because there's just something about her books that I don't quite love. I don't know what it is, but I thought this was really fun. It was really funny, and I had a really good time. So it did kind of remind me of the plot of the not the Paradise Problem, of the Unhoneymooners, and a bit of the Paradise Problem, both by Christina Loren. Because like the night that they get there, basically the wedding guests suffer from food poisoning. And they, like, you know, all have to be staying locked in their rooms, like, and so does Rue and Eli. So that was a bit similar to the Unhoneymooners, but they didn't really dwell on it too long. Okay, and then she didn't really dwell on it too long, I mean. And then the last book that I read was The Tenant by Frida McFadden. And I wasn't sure if I was going to read this book, but I wanted something, like, really short and bingeable at the end of the month. And this book is about Blake and his fiancée, Krista. And basically, Blake loses his job and gets fired. And basically becomes, like, obsessed with, like, working out. And he's, like, always home. And basically, you know, he needs to find some way to get some sort of income because he hasn't been able to find a job, like, this whole time. And weird things start happening when they have to, unfortunately, take on, like, someone to live with them. So they take in a tenant. And that's basically what this book is about. It was fun. It definitely kept me turning the pages. Frida McFadden's books I always finish so quickly. I finished this book in, like, a day. And I read it on Kindle Unlimited and also borrowed the audiobook from Libby. And literally, right after I read it, there was such a wait for the audiobook. But when I borrowed it, there was no wait. So it's crazy, like, that there's now a 12-week wait on the audiobook. But that's what happens with Frida McFadden's books. They always, like, blow up. I gave it a 3.5. But, like, weird things keep on happening as the tenants moved in. And Blake keeps on questioning, like, his sanity. And people are, like, blaming Blake for not liking the tenant, which is Whitney. Because he believes that she keeps on, like, planning things to, like, make his girlfriend, like, leave him. Or his fiancé. And that's basically what it's about. And then, like, you know, the plot comes together towards the end. So that was the only thriller that I read this month. And that's it, you guys. Those are all the books that I read in May. Hi, Tiffany. I just finished talking about all the books that I read. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I really need to go. I don't know how to save this, though. I think I can save it when I'm done. Hi, Tiffany, but I'm going to go. So I hope you guys enjoyed. And this was my first live that I ever did. And this is what the makeup looks like. Pretty, you know. For the blush, I used the Singe Beauty blush, also that I ordered with the palette. And this one is the shade Persimmon. Really, really pretty. And then for the highlighter, I used my Blend Bunny Cosmetics palette. And I used these two shades, which are Enlighten and Transient. And then for the lippy, I used Hey Girl by Desi and Katie by Joseph Colors. And for the foundation and concealer, I need to hurry up and get out of here. At least I put on my jewelry and everything before I left. The foundation and concealer was the Lawless foundation in the shade 1F, and then the concealer was the Lawless concealer in the shade 1M, I believe. I cannot even read that. It's like the smallest type ever. And then the palette, like I said, was the Agate Temptation palette. I used this shade in the crease, then I darkened up with this shade to define the crease, and then I used this really dark green on the outer corners, and then for the lid I used this shade translucent, and then for the inner corners I used Cilia. And that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed, and hope you guys have a great day, and let me know what you're reading down in the comments. Hopefully I can figure out how the hell to save this live, and I'm gonna go, so yeah, bye! Okay, so those were all the books that I read in the month of May. I can't believe that I still finished 21 books in May. I was just on a roll. Overall, I really did enjoy most of the books that I read. I had some really good 5-star reads, and then I kind of went through a rut where I didn't find a 5-star again until like a couple of weeks after Sunrise on the Reaping, because at the beginning of the month, the only 2 5-stars that I had were The Ballads of Songbirds and Snakes and Sunrise on the Reaping. But I'm so happy that I finally read all of the Hunger Games books, because I've been putting that off for so long. So I knew I wanted to read the prequels in May, and I'm so happy that I decided to. A lot of people read Sunrise on the Reaping in May. It wasn't just me, because some people were putting it off after it came out. I mean, it just came out at the end of March. But also, I read so many 2025 releases in May. And also, May was like the new release month for 2025. Like, I think I read a total of 12 new releases in May and still got to a couple books that I wanted to read on my TBR. I also read 2 arcs in May as well, so which were new releases too. So out of all the books that I read in May that were May releases was It's a Love Story, The Love Haters, Wild and Wrangled, A Curse Carved in Bone, One Golden Summer, Better Luck Next Time, My Friends, The Night in the Moss, Silver Elite, Shield of Sparrows, A Fate, Fortune, Fire, Problematic Summer Romance, and The Tenet. And I didn't get to His Face is the Sun. That's the only one I didn't get to in May that I wanted to read that came out in May. But hopefully I will read it soon. I just ended up replacing His Face is the Sun with Shield of Sparrows, and I do want to talk about Shield of Sparrows a little bit more at the end of this, because I forgot to say this when I was talking about it on the live. This was just a huge pacing issue for me in this book, because I thought the first, 25% of this book, I was hooked. I thought that the pacing was so well done. I thought the writing flowed really well. But I felt like as soon as we got to the kingdom that she was supposed to get to, she doesn't even get to the kingdom until 200 pages into the book. And I was like, okay, I feel like we're spending a little bit too long on, her. At least we didn't spend too long on the journey, though, when she was going to the kingdom. But basically, there was the world building in this book I struggled with a little bit, because I really liked the monsters, though, and I really liked the way that she described the monster killings and stuff like that. But the whole way that she was supposed to do research to, because basically she was a spy, and what really annoyed me, I mean, at first I thought it was really funny that the Guardian had already figured out that she was a spy, and he kept on making jokes about her being a spy, but then he would constantly say I can't trust you, and then meanwhile he would she would reveal so much to him, and he would tell her a lot of things too, but then he would still say in the end that I don't trust you, and I'm just like, dude, you keep on confiding in her, how do you not trust her then? I don't know. I feel like that's going to be a huge thing in the second book. But I also wanted to compare Shield of Sparrows to Silver Elite, because Silver Elite is obviously the biggest book on TikTok right now, along with Shield of Sparrows, and they both came out on the same day. But Shield of Sparrows by Devney Perry blew up too, and I don't really think it's worth the hype. I really don't. Like, I'm not saying it's a bad book, but I do think it's very overhyped, because with Silver Elite, I understand why people are loving this book, because it's so fast paced, it's so fun. It's just such a fun book. Like, I had the best time reading this book, and like sometimes you just want to read straight trash, all right? Like, but this book wasn't trash. Like, the pacing was so well done. I was so hooked. I could not do anything but think about this book. So it was definitely 100% my favorite book that I read in May. It was definitely the most fun that I had reading in May. And sometimes books are just for fun, dude. Books are for entertainment, all right? Sometimes we don't always have to read a super immersive, dramatic message, what do you even call it? I don't even know. You don't always have to read something that is like gonna be hard-hitting emotionally or something like that. Sometimes we just want something fun. So don't hate on people for liking it, okay? You like what you like. Are those people hating on you for liking what you like? No, like, shut up. Like, it just pisses me off. Like, go read your books. Nobody's like making you not read your books. So why the hell are you hating on people who think that popular books are fun, or they like a popular series, or they like a popular book? Why do we hate on things that are popular? So what if they're popular? They're popular for a reason, okay? You don't have to like it, but don't hate on the people that do like it. So anyway, rant over. But I loved that book. I had the best time. And then I did just want to talk about Direbound real quick, because Direbound is huge on TikTok as well. With Direbound, I actually, out of the three main characters in these books, I really liked the main character in Silver Elite the most. Even though some people were saying, like, she made some really dumb decisions. I'm like, I thought she was way smarter than the main character in Direbound, okay? In Direbound, I think I said this before, but the female FMC, the FMC pissed me off sometimes. Like, there's nothing wrong with the female main character making mistakes, okay? We all make mistakes in life. I love when female main characters are imperfect, because obviously we are as humans. Like, nobody's perfect. But, like, it pisses me off when she, like, makes... It's not even, like, a mistake. It's more so, like, she be fucking clueless about something. And I'm just like, girl, you're supposed to be a master fighter, and you're telling me you were completely oblivious to this happening literally in front of you until, like, 80% into the book. Like, she didn't know who was in love with her until 80% in the book. I don't know. That like bumped it down with me, because honestly, I really thought this book was going to be a 5-star. But literally, I loved everything else about it. I loved it. It was so much fun. Very well paced. I think it was the longest out of all of these, because unfortunately I didn't have an audiobook for it. But of course, the audiobook is now coming out in July. So I'm going to stop rambling, though, because I don't want to make this too long. But overall, I had a really great reading month. My favorite book was Silver Elite. My least favorite book was Swift and Saddled. But honestly, I feel like It's a Love Story was my most disappointing. I forgot to say my favorite and my least favorite book in April's wrap up, but I think my favorite was I can't remember. Oh, My Friends was also one of my favorite books this month. That book was gut-wrenching, okay? Cried my eyes out at so many parts, but that man, Frederick Bachman, phenomenal. Never misses. I absolutely love his books. So Anxious People's on my TBR for June, and I'm very excited to get to it. And that's probably going to be my last Frederick Bachman book for a while, because I want to work on some more TJ Klune books and, like, more of my 25 and 2025. Like, An Ember in the Ashes is on my TBR for June. I'm so excited to read that series. And Stephen King's Billy Summers is another book that I've been putting off for forever. So Firefly Lane, Billy Summers, and Anxious People are all on my TBR for June, and I will be very excited to check off those books. I need to read another Kristen Hanna book. It just needs to happen. Like, I don't know why I keep on putting her books off. I absolutely loved The Nightingale. But I ended up reading 4 Frederick Bachman books since Kristen Hanna's The Nightingale, and I absolutely love Frederick Bachman's books. So I know if I get into Kristen Hanna's books, I know I'm going to love them. I just don't know why I put them off for so long. I think it's also because I feel like I get through Frederick Bachman's books faster. But I just love his books so much. And I'm just like so used to them. And people have said that his books are perfect for people with ADD. And hello, that's me. So anyway, I don't think there was anything else. And Sunrise on the Reaping, of course. I also loved The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. It was amazing. There is so much that you find out in The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. It's insane. Suzanne Collins is a fucking genius. Like, amazing. Amazing. And One Golden Summer. Absolutely fucking adored that book. So those were definitely my favorite books this month. And in Fate, Fortune, Fire, slayed. I loved that book. Oh yeah, that's what I was going to say. This was a slow burn done right. It was perfectly paced for me. It was 100 pages shorter than Shield of Sparrows. And I felt like it didn't take forever for something to happen in a chapter. Not to say that I didn't like the writing in Shield of Sparrows. I actually really enjoyed the book. But like with the Fate, Fortune, Fire, I cried at the end. Okay? From a betrayal. Because I was really, really caring about the 2 main characters. But, you know, I've learned from Direbound to not trust the male main characters, so yeah. But that book was phenomenal. It was so good. I think that was my first 5-star romantasy this year since Onyx Storm. That's how much I loved that book. That book surprised. I knew I was going to like it, but I didn't think I was going to love it. And I loved it. It was so good. I swear, if you're looking for something with dragons, read that book. I loved it so much. I really don't think I've had a 5-star romantasy, adult romantasy since Onyx Storm. Because I've been looking for one. My last 5-star romantasy was Our Infinite Fates, but that's a YA romantasy. So if you're looking for Fourth Wing vibes, even though it's not as epic as Fourth Wing, this is just such a good fucking book, you guys. Loved it so much. The magic system was perfection. It was just so good. So anyway, if you guys enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Follow me on my Instagram at CBW819. And I will leave my TikTok linked below as well. So you guys can follow me on there if you want more like short book reviews so I don't ramble too much. Also, I really did enjoy Problematic Summer Romance by Ali Hazelwood. So now I only have one more book from Ali Hazelwood that is on my backlist, and then I will have read all of her novels, which is crazy, but still haven't found a 5-star read from her. But I really did enjoy this book. I thought it was a little bit similar to The Paradise Problem, and there were a couple of other things that annoyed me, but not enough for me to not enjoy it. I thought it was so much fun. I thought it was hilarious. I thought this was Ali Hazelwood's humor at its finest. And this was my favorite book I read from her since Love Theoretically. Because that's my favorite book from her. I also really did love Not in Love as well. So those are like my 2 top books still from her. Problematic Summer Romance was really good though. So yeah, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will leave my Goodreads linked below as well. So yeah, I have one more thing to say about the Rebel Ranch series. So after not being that crazy about the first 2 books, I loved the last 2. I loved Lost and Lassoed, and I loved Wild and Wrangled. Wild and Wrangled, it was so good. I was like, why is it this series is ending as soon as I start liking it? Because it was so adorable. That book was so good. And like I said, that was my favorite book in the series. I thought Lost and Lassoed was, and then I was like, wait, Wild and Wrangled like blew it out of the water. It was so good. So I'm like, I don't know why I kept up with it. And then I was like, everybody says you just have to get to Lost and Lassoed. I'm like, okay, but I feel like, you know, with certain series you shouldn't have to wait until books 3 and 4 for them to get good. But since they're such short books, I was like, I can just binge it in a day and it's not really that big of a deal. But Switch and Saddle was pretty bad. Done and Dusted was cheesy, but like still readable. With Switch and Saddled, it was so dumb. It was just so dumb. There was like no substance to that book, but like the third and fourth books, oh my god, so good. No hate if you guys like those first two books, but they just weren't for me. But it's a love story by Annabelle Monaghan. What the fuck was that book? Like, I'm sorry, but I love her books. I have not rated any of her other books previously lower than a 5-star. Well, lower than a 4-star, I mean. But it felt like I wasn't even reading an Annabelle Monaghan book. It felt like I was reading Nothing Like the Movies by Lynn Painter, because I didn't like that book either. That was one of the worst romances that I read last year. This was the worst romance book that I read this year. And I am so shocked that It's a Love Story was all the way down here, and One Golden Summer was my favorite romance this month. I adored that book. I adored it. It was so wonderful. And the thing is that, like, I haven't had the best luck with Carly Fortune's books, and everybody be raving about One Golden Summer, and I absolutely loved it. It was so well done. And I was like, that is my bar for summer romances right now, because I adored it. And I've read mostly every summer romance that I want to read this season already. And we're not even in summer yet, but most of them have already come out. But the only other big one that's on my list is Sounds Like Love by Ashley Poston. I can't wait to read that book, so, because I love her writing. So yeah, that's it. I'm gonna go now. Bye.